good night, because these are our lives, our children's lives, our country, our history, and if we don't stop Harper and the Conservatives, we will see Canada turn into a country that will not be recognizable. The majority of Canadians didn't want Marc in prison. They don't vote for this government. They don't want marijuana illegal. And we cannot let them silence us. It's time to stand up, take it to your member of parliament directly, occupy their offices legally. It's your property. You pay Stephen Harper. You pay every member of parliament.
It really angers me as a Canadian and as a member of the cannabis culture. I think he was singled, or I don't think, the DEA spokesperson Karen Tandy said that he was singled out because of his outspoken activism for legalization of marijuana and ending prohibition. And based on that, the VPD invited the DEA to come up and investigate him for his activities of expression, and they were only too happy to do that. And the Conservative government has declared a culture war on all of us by sending Marc to the United States and for refusing to treaty transfer all drug offenders from the United States back to Canada.
There are bad people out there who are not being treated in the same horrible way that we are, that our culture is. And it's true, if you grow plants under the new Bill C or S10, it used to be C15, but this bill is being debated in our Parliament, in the Senate, and if it passes, we will have mandatory minimums here in Canada. Mandatory minimums means that even if the judge says you shouldn't go to prison because it was a compassion club, or you shouldn't go to prison because you're an 80-year-old woman using it for yourself, mandatory minimums mean it doesn't matter. You go to prison automatically. It starts at 6 months for 6 plants. And if you make hash, or you're renting a property, or you're near a park or a school, you will be sent to prison for even longer terms, years. The cost of incarcerating one male per year in Canada is $101,000. The cost of imprisoning a woman is $185,000. That money should be building hospital beds. It should be going into schools. It should be going towards much better things than a prison industry and incarcerating peaceful, non-violent people. The drug war is out of control. There are more deaths on the border of Mexico and the United States in the last year than there have been in Afghanistan and Iraq combined. The real war is the war on drugs, because the wars abroad are the wars on drugs. The war in Afghanistan is about opium. The military smuggles drugs around the world. The Taliban isn't able to get tankers and airstrips and all this massive amount of drugs here. Osama bin Laden isn't responsible for the people on the downtown east side. Prohibition is responsible for it. Prohibition causes the harm. Prohibition is funding the bombs that blow up our soldiers. Today in Afghanistan,
how do I feel about Marc going to jail?
Yeah.
I think it's ridiculous. I can't believe that Canada is going to give up one of our citizens to the Americans for something that really isn't even illegal. And it shouldn't be.
Must end. The wars everywhere must end. No more war on drugs. No more war on anybody. We're here because we're peaceful, and cannabis represents peace. It means we don't need the oil wars. We don't need to be killing all these people far away to steal the resources from under their feet. We should be growing hemp and building hemp houses, which are flame-proof and flood-proof. Hemp which removes carbon from the atmosphere. How is it that when we're in a world of great crisis, when the environment is being destroyed, we aren't planting acres and acres of hemp all across the world to use the seeds, to eat and be healthy, to use the hemp plant to build houses, to use the THC and the cannabinoids to make medicines that can cure so many ailments? How is it that this plant is the most vilified plant on earth? It's because it makes you question authority. Marc always questioned authority, and cannabis users from way back in the witch-burning days all throughout history, to the Vietnam War, the anti-war protesters, people who stood up against the government and against authority often use cannabis because it opens your mind. It makes you think of things differently. It makes you compassionate. It makes you want to not hurt others. That's what cannabis does. And when my point is, Marc is sitting in jail for 5 years, and he did that because he was facing life. They said to him 30 years mandatory minimums up to life because, Mr. Emery, you're the #1 drug trafficking kingpin in Canada for your seed selling. So Marc decided to take a plea deal for 5 years. And his mission, and your mission, is to end prohibition. End it. Stop it. Get this government and get the...
How do you feel about Marc going to jail?
I think it's fucking bullshit. It's illegal. It shouldn't have happened in the first place. And I'm hoping that this is going to be the end of the Conservatives.
If you don't know that cannabis seeds will feed the world's hungry, are the most digestible source of protein, you haven't been listening to Marc Emery over the last decade and a half. If you don't know we can replace soil-depleting cotton with natural hemp fibers, you haven't been listening to Marc Emery or going in his store. This is the torch of freedom. Right here. This is the torch of freedom, and Marc Emery has walked in this town and this country for 2 decades, bearing the torch of freedom. And when they put Marc away in an American jail, they thought that they were going to extinguish that flame of the torch of freedom. But they didn't know that Marc Emery reached out in Canada, the United States, and around the world, and he took that torch of freedom and he lit 1 million torches.
So I want you to feel proud that you're here. I want you to feel proud that you are part of the cannabis culture, a culture which stretches back before recorded history and which encompasses the globe. People all around the world are celebrating cannabis culture and protesting Marc Emery's extradition today. This movement has grown into something that cannot be stopped. If we continue to push this pressure on, then we can look to our children and our grandchildren in the eye, and we can say that we made a difference. We can say that you can live in freedom because of what we did, because of the sacrifices we have made today. When we first started this crusade so many years ago, hemp was not being grown legally in Canada, medical marijuana was not available, and most people did not know about the amazing powers of this plant. Bongs and pipes could not be sold openly. High Times magazine and incredible books like The Emperor Wears No Clothes were not legally available in this country. And it is because of people like Marc Emery that these books are available, that this knowledge is available, that quality glass and bongs and pipes are available, that vaporizers are available for us to use. But when I was a child in the 70s, people thought that marijuana was going to be legal. And oh, it's going to happen any day now they're about to legalize. That's not how it works. It's not a moment of any day, it's a moment of us making this continual effort to change these laws and to end this prohibition.
And I think that one thing people have forgotten about democracy is sometimes you have to openly and loudly break a law in order to bring awareness to the fact that it's not benefiting society, and that's what Marc did all the time. He's saying, this is not working, we need to break it, we need to stand up. They're not listening to us with our letters. We need to, show that these people are not criminals and they're being punished for something that is non-violent and for something that is harming no one, but themselves, if you want to say that. So it's a sad day for sure.
Last week we took over Stephen Harper's office. Next week we're going to go to more conservative offices, and the week after, and the week after. And when we've been to all of them, we're going to start over again. How many of you are going to come with us? Free Marc Emery! 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 Free Marc Emery!
What does it say?
Free Marc! Harper!
Down with Harper! Down with Harper! Down with Harper! Down with Harper! Down with Harper! Down with Harper! Down with Harper! Down with Harper! Down with Harper! Down with...
We're
brutality! Kill the pig! That was unnecessary. Too bad we couldn't get back to the fucking wagon. 1, 2, 3, 4.